How's it going, everybody? Another year has passed, and I think it's time to reevaluate our goals. Last year, I remember at the age of 26, I made a video where I was explaining my goals, ultimately just sharing with you my plan, trying to retire at the age of 50. And here we are once again, just revisiting it. Now at the age of 27. It's not like I just turned 27, we're now in 2023, and this year I'll be 28. So I think it's time to just document my goals once again, now at the age of 27, on how it is that I plan to retire by the age of 50 or 52. I'll explain. As a multi-millionaire, the video itself wasn't to show you how I plan to retire, with $1 million, but it's just to ultimately show you my goals that I have for myself financially to reach a retirement that's comfortable, one that honestly I'm structuring systematically to be that way over time. And as a byproduct, I just happen to show you how it is that I do plan to retire with $1 million. So this video is going to be a little bit technical, not so much with dividends, but I will mention dividend investing. So if you're curious and you just want to see a layout, someone at the age of 27, on how it is that they're structuring their finances, how it is that they look ahead to try to plan for that retirement at what I believe is an early age, at the age of 50. I mean, realistically, I always thought when I entered the workforce I'd retire earlier than that. But the truth is, time passes. And if you're really not excelling ahead of time, it's quite difficult to retire before the age of 50. I entered the workforce at the age of 24. And even with my systematic planning, my attempts to leverage time, 50 is really the earliest that I can see myself retiring quite comfortably. And when I say quite comfortably, I'll show you in this video what I mean. I'll pretty much have everything in alignment by that age. And I can tap at that point if I want to. Not to say I will, but I will ultimately have the choice. And I think the choice is what matters most. So let's begin here, friends, as we work our way through the video. But as you see here, I do have that my current age is 27, and my overall goal of retirement age is the age of 50, and I do have a dash to 52. So staying on this current plan, right, this current trajectory that I'm on, I should be able to retire at the age of 50. If I get this job ultimately that I think will just enhance my income, there's a chance that I may have to wait an additional 2 years. But I do believe it would be worth it, as my income would increase. It'd be a better gig overall. So that's why I have 50 to 52. But friends, I don't plan to work anything more past the age of 52, at least at this current job. It could be something else, but at least, through the state work, through my current employer, 52 is it, and I'd be done. And then just to point out a little note here, everything in this video here is going to be based on calculations just for myself, which I think is important. I know we all have partners, maybe one day we'll all plan to get married. So at that point, it can be a dual income and things can change. But just keep in mind, everything that I'm speaking about in this video is just based on my own finances. If I was to live this life alone, a partner can enhance it, can decrease it, things can definitely happen. But I have been with my partner for 7 years now. We are on the same page. We're in a loving relationship. And at the moment, we don't see marriage in our horizon, but we are lifelong partners right now. So a lot of this is just based on my own calculations, just for simplicity. But looking ahead here, friends, my goal areas, and I broke it down into a career / my salary. I'm going to talk about my pension as well, along with my 457B. I also wanted to touch on health insurance, because I know this one's a big one that a lot of people are worried about, especially in early retirement. I'm going to explain to you how I pretty much found, I guess, a life hack, a way to kind of address this into early retirement, so it's no longer really an issue for me. I'm also going to explain how my dividend portfolio is going to be leveraged into, pretty comfortable retirement. As you guys have seen over time, I am a pretty big dividend investor, and I'm just documenting this journey over time. So I'll be summarizing a good chunk of that goal in this video. I'll also touch on just my current goal of, building up a cash reserve, trying to get into real estate. Also looking at that for me into the future and exactly what that looks like. And then I also just want to touch on at the very end, this YouTube wildcard. So let's continue to work our way through this video. So for career and salary. So currently I do make 6-figure income. I entered the workforce at the age of 24, and I've continually, for the most part, been making 6-figure income. In California, as long as you work as an RN in a hospital or, maybe in a prison like myself, you're likely to make at least six-figure income. Currently, I make about $120,000, $130,000 a year. This is with a couple raises every single year since I've entered, and I got about 4 years into the workforce now. To begin with, just for some backgrounds, because as far as trajectory in your career, how far you're going to go sometimes does depend on which doors you can open. For me, from the get-go, I got my bachelor's degree. And then as I've mentioned, here and there, I'm currently also getting my master's degree. The plan behind the master's degree is that with this, I'll be able to actually open the door that I want for a gig that I really want. And through this gig, and I think I can get it, I'm pretty certain. I mean, I'm 27 years old. I got up till the age of 50 or 52, if I stay here with the state to get this job. And if I get this job, it has a salary ladder that can get me an income up to approximately $180,000, which would be way substantial. So that can definitely elevate just my living overnight. And take note, this isn't, this is only with myself. This isn't with me and my partner's income combined. This is just one member of the household, up to $180,000. And I would technically expect to get that in this next gig, which is like a promotional gig within 5 years. One thing to note here in this section of career and salary is that I did start with the state. So I'm a state worker. I work for the state of California. There's a lot of benefits to being a state worker. One is a pension. One is, if you do start early with this pension, you can retire early. It's almost like a given. You put in your time, you could be done with this pension. The pension takes care of you. It's for life. And I'll kind of touch on that in this next section. But this job itself, as I mentioned down here, it's pretty recession proof. I always joke around with my partner and tell her, I'm a nurse, which is already, a high demand job. People will always get sick. We always need nurses, doctors, medical professionals. And I also work in a prison, so people will always commit crimes, and especially more so in a turned economy, right? But just kind of working our way down to the next section here, pension and 457B. So currently with the state, like I mentioned, I am working towards a pension. I started at the age of 24. So if I stop at the age of 50, that'll be about 26 years with the state. That'll be a significant pension. And 50 is quite early. Right now at the moment, currently, when I look at my accounts, just to kind of contribute to a net worth, I currently have $43,000 in the accounts. It just tells me that for now because, just in case I wanted to leave the state. But after 5 years, I'll actually be vested. And for me, like I said, currently I'm on a trajectory to be able to retire the earliest at the age of 50. And if I continue just even where I'm at, don't get a promotion, don't get that next job that I want, I should expect to get a pension of $4,000 every single month for life, starting at the age of 50. So just kind of keep that in mind. I think that's way better than a 401k. A 401k depends on fluctuations in the market. There's no, defined benefit, no guaranteed monthly, income for you. If you have to take out your money in a down market, you have to take it out in a down market, as opposed with the pension, it'll be the same flat rate every single month, unless CalPERS, which is the pension plan, which is the largest pension plan in California, tends to take a hit. Maybe it does some slashes, some cuts, but if that happens, then the overall economy is pretty much screwed. So it wouldn't just be me, it'd be pretty much the whole economy, which wouldn't be good anyway, right? But I also just mentioned here, with that job, with that promotional job that I want, the one that will eventually pay $180K a year, with that job specifically, I would have to wait an additional 2 years to retire. That's why I put 52 years. But with that job, I would at least get a pension of $6,400 every month, which is a significant increase from $4,000. And just on its own, right, $6,400 every single month, guaranteed for life, beginning at the age of 52, that is significant. That's about close to $80,000 every single year, just from your pension, at the age of 52. So that is the trajectory with my career and my pension. Those are the goals I just have to maintain. And also I just want to touch on health insurance here for a second. So one of the benefits apart from a pension plan, and it may sound like I'm trying to convince people to go be state workers, but being a state worker is a very conservative long-term strategy. I mean, if you're young, and you can bear it, you could tolerate state work, yeah, I would recommend it. For me personally, I started at the age of 24, but after 25 years of state work, I'll be able to actually receive my employer's health benefit going into retirement. And like I said, I'll be eligible for retirement beginning at the age of 50, if not 52, which is a big key to an early retirement. Because I know a lot of people are always hesitant to retire because they need to wait for Medicare, which kicks in at 65. But it's either that or you pay for your own health insurance right on your own, or you just risk it and don't have any health insurance. But when we're around that age, I mean, I'm a nurse. I mean, you see things happen all the time. You can feel like you're in good health and all of a sudden something happens, or you can be in bad health or poor health already. Or if it's not you, maybe it's your partner as well. So it's understandable that health insurance can be a big hindrance for people who want to retire early, but I kind of have that covered here. So if this is an idea for you, just take note. After 25 years of state work, you can receive your employer's health benefit. So for me, health insurance, I guess what I'm trying to say, won't be a barrier to an early retirement. And then as we make our way forward, so our dividend portfolio, I just made a note here. Let's take a look at the charts. So taking a look at the chart, this is the one that you've seen over time, since almost the origination of this portfolio. I mean, I started on July 20th of the year 2020, and we've just systematically been investing it. This is what time does if you leverage it right. You invest consistently, but before you know it, time just passes and you thank yourself for starting. So I'm currently 27 years old. I have a $65,300 dividend portfolio. It's overall in the green, and as you've seen in my other videos recently, it already provides me $2,000 a year of dividend income, which is only expected to grow. And I'll show you here on this next chart. So this is a dividend hue calc, and you could just put that on Google and select this website here. I'm not sponsored by it or anything, but it is one of the best calculators that I've seen that's just fun and quick, and it's helpful for getting a general idea of where you can be in a couple years if you're a dividend investor. And I'll kind of show you what I mean here. So as we saw with my current dividend portfolio size of $65,000, I just placed that in this first box here. And at the moment, as some of you may know if you've seen my other videos, I'm currently investing $100 every single week into this portfolio. So approximately $400 monthly contribution at the moment. I just leave this at 1. And then expected percent increase of stock price annually. Conservatively, I just put 7% on average. And then number of years to invest, which is 3. And I'll explain that here in a minute. And then as far as current dividend yield, I put 3%, which is where I'm at for the most part. And I always want to be at 3%, on average. And then as far as expected dividend growth rate, I put 5%, which is pretty conservative as well. And then I just ran the calculation. So I did 3 years because currently I am with a dividend portfolio, funding goal of investing $100 every single week. Some of you guys, if you've been here for a while for the journey, you've known that I've invested $500 every week into this dividend portfolio before. And I made an adjustment to do less because that additional $400 I'm trying to save up for a cash reserve or a cash fund, to get into real estate. So the $100 every single week is just temporary. I just plan to do it for about 3 years or so, just to kind of build up that cash reserve. And then once I have that cash reserve built, I'll go back to my normal funding, which is pretty aggressive. So I put it for 3 years here. In this first year, I'll be 27 turning 28, and then 28 turning 29. And then in that last year, I'll actually be going into turning 30. So, if you look at here, we started at $65,000, and then over the course of 3 years, right before, or I guess in that same year where I'm going to turn 30, I should have at least $100,000 dividend portfolio, which should provide about $2,358 of dividends, estimation, right? But I should have a pretty good portfolio size of $100,000. So let's just take this number here, and then we'll move over here now. And I plug in that number here. So I created a different chart because at this point, after 3 years, I will at this point switch my strategy back to investing $500 every single week, or approximately $2,000 contributed every single month, which is that aggressive pace again. But that is my game plan. And hopefully by this point in time as well, I should have that next job, that next gig that I'm trying to get, and maybe it might even be more than $2,000, but it should at the minimum be $2,000 contributed every single month. And then as far as, the 7% stock return annually, now I have it invested over 21 years because I'll be about 29 or 30 going up to the age of 50 or so. And then my current dividend yield, I still put 3, and then the growth rate of the dividends, I put 5 still. And then I ran this calculation. So as you can see here, we started with the balance of $101,000, and over the course of time, by the time I reach around the age of 49 or 50, I should have a $2 million dividend portfolio, or the way I like to say it, a multi-million-dollar dividend portfolio by the age of 50. So this is my plan here of how I do, I guess, naturally on my current path or this current trajectory, plan to be a millionaire. And we'll see if the plan originally works out, but it should work out. Hopefully as I continue to stay the course, but things can happen over time. But I do have this belief that as long as you plan ahead and you try to maintain, status quo, you should be able to achieve it. And this is why I say it's so important to have that plan and ultimately look ahead as to where it is you want to go. Because if it's not $2 million that you want, if it's more, then you can make adjustments. Or if you're already projected to maybe make $997 by the time you reach the age of 50, you can make adjustments and try to increase that as well. So I always do this from time to time just to kind of see where it is that I'm going, what type of speed, what type of trajectory. And I always find it pretty fun. I know some people find it stressful, but that is my dividend portfolio portion there. And as far as this next section, the cash and real estate, as I did mention, I'm currently on a 3-year plan to save up cash. The goal is to ultimately buy a home, and it can either be for an investment property or a personal property. And my goal is to do it by the age of 31. So if I can buy this house, maybe at the age of 30, I'm approximately saving $400 cash every single week. So by the age of 31, I should have about $80,000 cash. And again, this is just for my own calculation. I do have a long-term partner, so this can change. It could either speed it up over time, things like that, right? And then now for this final section, the YouTube coaching wildcard. I just wanted to throw this in here because, I do continue to grow. My YouTube channel continues to tick, and it is a really fun hobby for me. I mean, clearly I enjoy making videos like these and other motivational videos as well. But ultimately it is a wild card. I do recognize that. Have a really solid career as a nurse working for the state prison system, investing in dividends. That is my baseline. My baseline is to have a multi-million-dollar dividend portfolio, hopefully have an income of $180,000 as a nurse. That is my baseline. Everything else on top of that will be extra. And that includes my YouTube channel. That includes, hopefully, what I mentioned here to be a coaching program. But with this coaching program, I just throw it in here because, this is more of like a side dream. But I would only truly do this coaching program if I truly became the person that I would listen to, if I truly was able to become that leader that I would follow. If that truly never happened, then I honestly would never start this coaching program. But these are just some side notes, and ultimately I just wanted to throw it in because we just never know what happens over time. I've been doing this for about 2+ years now, and I just don't really see myself stopping. I just see myself continuing to grow it. And the funny thing is, if I've been able to maintain, being a full-time RN, being a full-time partner, going to school to get my master's degree, and already uploading multiple videos every single week to YouTube and Instagram, I just don't see myself stopping. I mean, I've been able to maintain this status quo. So I just, I'm excited. And ultimately it's a hobby, so we'll see what happens, right? But that's going to be it for this week's video, friends. I know it's a little bit technical, but sometimes it's helpful. Just to document your goals, document the journey that you see for yourself, and hopefully give you guys an idea of what it may look like if you try to plan your future. It can be done. You can get to a comfortable retirement if you plan for it. And if you're young, just leverage your time. I started the workforce at the age of 24. I'm 27 now. I'll be 28 later this year. And every single year I'll revisit this plan. I'll see exactly where I'm at, maybe make adjustments as I go, but hopefully over time it only continues to improve. And hopefully the same for you as well. But as always, friends, I'll continually be here. Thanks for stopping by and watching, and I'll see you on the next one.